everyone, and thank you so much for joining my channel. This is Rocky. So today's video is pretty interesting. We are actually going to be talking about all of the fashion trends. I think people find it interesting to know that there are so many different categories that you could fall in or style towards. I want to break down basically the majority, the bigger buckets of the different types of styles for you today. And I've come up with 14 essential styles that you should know about fashion. All right, before I get started though, I do want to introduce a special guest, and that is this fro. I thought it would be I did this for two reasons. One, I had 4 braids in my hair, and I thought it would be interesting to know if I took the braids out and just shook them out, what would happen. And here we have friggin' Samuel Jackson from Unbreakable is what happened. The second thing is one of my viewers gave me some unsolicited advice and said, you can't be talking about fashion and telling people, you know, how you're a fashion expert and your hair is in a bonnet. Now, so I took that into consideration and said, I'm not going to do my video in a bonnet today, but I can't promise you that the bonnet or the slap cap will not make an appearance again. I've been very clear. Fashion is my game, but beauty ain't my thing. Let's get started. The very first style I want to talk about is bohemian, and you'll hear it called boho or boho chic. And what it is basically, you know, borrowing from the 60s, where you have flowy fabrics, maxi dresses, hats, bandanas, patchwork, floral, just organic fabrics, things like that, things that just make you think free-spirited, and all the things that you think of when you think of like Woodstock, things like that, right? Peace, love. So that is boho. The next style I like to mention is preppy. Now, the first thing that my mind would go to is Tommy Hilfiger, kind of like the 80s movies where you had the sweater tied around your neck. But preppy really is that, just kind of reminiscent of prep school. So like boarding school, private school, preparatory school, college prep school, you know, things that make you think of that. Very prim and proper, you know, everyone dressing in their appropriate quote roles. And for the most part, it's quite modest. It is very fun to dress in a preppy style. It's not necessarily me all the time. Preppy has its place. The next style is artsy. And a lot of times when people think artsy, they just think like, you know, you throw caution to the wind and you put whatever you want on your body. Actually, artsy is quite expressive. Each piece typically has a meaning. It may look like a hodgepodge of whatever, things thrown together, lots of colors, but usually artsy means that each piece represents something or means something to you or has an artistic value or characteristic to it. So it really doesn't matter about matching or going or adhering to a particular style. It's really about what speaks to you, and that's the artsy style. The next one is grunge. This is one of my favorites, but not one of my family's favorites. It's reminiscent of the, you know, sort of the 80s and 90s style where you see a lot of plaid and just unshoweredness, unwashed hair. Sometimes you have polish. If you do, it's chipped, you know, just throwing caution to the wind and just being you. It's Kurt Cobain, Courtney Cox. If you think about those types of styles, grunge is awesome to me. You know, kind of rips, kind of, you know, whatever you're feeling, but just hardcore. I love grunge. The next one can kind of sometimes get confused with grunge, and this one's like, it's punk. And you might hear it called punk or rocker or biker, but they're all very similar. All sort of revolving around leathers and metals and denim and darker colors, very hardcore. You'll see the which is not exclusive to grunge, but you'll see like the Doc Martens and those, you know, sort of combat boots in the style as well. But you'll see, you know, other kinds of shoes too. But it has its own unique style. It's very hardcore, very tough, very I ain't playing with you. But it has its place. Not necessarily my thing, but it certainly has its place, and components of it can definitely be incorporated into your style. The next one is trendy, and trendy is exactly what it sounds like. You are dressing with the current trend. It doesn't matter, like it doesn't bring it into any particular style set. It's whatever the designers, the influencers, who's all around you in your circle, whatever they say is cool is what you're wearing, and it changes. That's the thing about trendy. It changes. You got to keep up with it. It changes by the season. It changes by the year. It changes by the decade. So trendy is hard to keep up with, but it has its place. The next one is vintage, and you'll also hear it kind of talked about as retro, and that's your whole style of thrifting, upcycling, things like that, borrowing from styles of yesteryear, so you can fall within pretty much any era or decade. You just come, but it's not the current trend of what you're wearing. So it's just borrowing from past trends, wearing things that are not necessarily new and off the rack from a brand new store, you know what I mean, like consignment, vintage, things like that. So vintage is really good. It's very sustainable. Right, you're not, contributing to producing or mass producing more clothes or putting things in a landfill. You're keeping it from ended up in a landfill, but also you get to make your own mark and make your own style and not being confined to what's the trend for right now. The next style is feminine. You might also hear it referred to as girly. Sometimes it could be romantic. It's when whatever comes to mind when you think girly or feminine. Flowers and pastels and layers and demure and just pretty. Pretty. That's what happens in this feminine style, and there's some people who won't deviate from that. If you think about like the Southern Belle or something like that, they will definitely fall into this category. So for me, it has its place. There are days when that's when I feel like being feminine, but other days I'm just like too much. The next style is tomboy, and I absolutely love this style. I think I'm kind of tomboy today. Tomboy or andro, it means that you could literally pick up the style, put it on a male or a female, and it would be just as versatile on either type. So, think about your just jeans and t-shirts and just, nothing with any distinctive colors or designs on it, things that fit like classic fit, not too loose, not too tight, things like that. Those are like tomboy. I absolutely love that style because for me, it's about you and not about your clothes. You kind of just go off into this world and not being defined by what you're wearing. So I absolutely love just that straight lace down the middle. No one really cares about what you're wearing. Tomboy, andro look. The next one is sporty. We're seeing a lot of sporty or athleisure these days. It's exactly what it sounds like. However, it is a way to take the gym to the streets. It's what you would see people kind of typically working out with, but it's upstyled. Right? It's upstyled so that you could be on the street and just fit right in and still be comfy and not worry about rips and stains or having to carry yourself in a particular way. Athleisure is it. Athleisure has been what we kind of leaned on during this COVID time as well. I love athleisure, and you'll see it everywhere. And it's not going anywhere either. It's just too good for it to go anywhere. The next style is Gothic. And I think it's often confused with like grunge or biker, the punk and biker one I talked about. But Gothic is a bit dark and deep and stoic and serious, brooding from within almost, you know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people kind of interchange those with the other two I mentioned, but it's totally different. Gothic is also a way of thinking, a way of living. Your headspace and your values and just who you are is more from a Gothic thing. It's almost like when you talk about hip hop. Hip hop is not a style, it's a way of life. And I feel like Gothic is more like that. Even though people classify Gothic as a style, I wanted to bring it up as a type of style so that I can separate it from your grunge and your punk styles that I mentioned before. My husband always classifies my grunge style as Gothic, and just because he doesn't know any better. But I'm not Gothic. I'm not going to claim to be that ever. That is not my style. That's not how I live. That's not any of that. I'm more hip hop than anything, but I just wanted to clarify that. The next one is street style, or sometimes you'll hear it called casual. And what this is actually a combination of two trends. Street style is a combination of athleisure and trendy. So I love street style because I feel like it's the most you, the truest you that you'll ever be. You're not dressing for any particular occasion. You're not dressing for any, it's not a purpose-driven styling. It's you going out into the world how you are most comfortable. And I absolutely love street style. I love looking at Pinterest and looking at pictures of people doing the street style, because I feel like you can tell so much about a person. Like what they have on tells a story. And I'm so appreciative of street style, and I love, like I said, dressing organically and going out into this world as my true self with my street style. And that's my favorite style of all the styles, because you can be authentically you. The next one is vacation or resort style, and it's exactly what it sounds like. When you think of vacation, you think of sandy beaches, sunny skies. Well, most people. Some other people might be thinking of like camping or mountain climbing or skiing, but that ain't my definition. So I'm thinking more like paradise, exotic, and things like that. That's where this comes into play, with the big sun hats and the long romantic lines, or swimwear or shorts and sandals and things like that. Vacation and resort is a style, because there are people who dress like that all the time and they ain't going nowhere. That's just how they feel comfortable. So you'll see this most likely wherever you are. If you have summer year round, you probably see it year round. But if you have seasons like we do here in Chicago, you'll see it in the summers, or whenever you go to vacation. These styles are very prevalent. So this is actually a style, and it's vacation resort. And the very last one is classic. And a lot of people fall into this category because it is easy. You don't have to worry about having to, not even for real explain yourself, but there's no explanation needed with what you have on. Classic style is something that you would kind of feel like two things. Never goes out of style. So you could have worn it 20 years from now and you wear it today and no one will know, like, as long as it's in good shape, no one would know when you bought it. It's in style, never goes out of style. You can wear it forever. And all the sustainable capsule wardrobe people out there, you will love this concept of classic dressing or classic style, because you can be minimalist and you don't have to worry about trends, any of the other styles, and it fits right in no matter where you are, what era, whatever. The other thing is it aligns very closely to workwear. So you could go from day to work to night to wherever, and you would fit right in with this style. So classic is good. Classic is good for, good longevity for your closet, good cost per wear, and never have to worry about anyone having to, digest what you have on and figure out what you're trying to say with your style, because it is classic. It is universal and everyone understands what you have on. So those to me are the big key 14 styles that you should be aware of. There are so many subsets of what I just mentioned, but it's up to you. If you want to dig further into fashion, it's all there on the interwebs. But I thought this is a good stop shop to tell you the 14 styles that you should know about in fashion. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right there. Hopefully you liked this style of video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, leave me a comment down below. Bye.